been waiting to have this conversation for quite a while. Axon, Arizona-based company, been around since the 90s, grew here, has really grown here, and the owner and CEO is with us, Rick Smith. You actually went to high school here.
I did, Chaparral.
So you are an Arizona guy, just like Dillingham, just like our coach at ASU went to Chaparral.
I am through and through Arizona.
So let's talk about the possibility of Axon leaving. For people that don't know, it started as Taser, and it's morphed into Axon. The body-worn cameras are what they're known for. But you do so many things in the personal defense, less lethal world, and you've been doing this for how many years now?
Oh, 34? Yeah, it's been a heck of a run.
And where were you in volume when you started? How big was the company when you started?
It was me and a 73-year-old retired NASA scientist, so two guys in a garage.
And where is it now?
We're 4,200 people, offices in Scottsdale, London, Seattle, Ho Chi Minh City, Atlanta, Boston. We truly are a multinational company now. $40 billion. We're publicly traded on the NASDAQ. We're in the NASDAQ 100 now, which is pretty cool. It's been a wild and amazing ride.
So the economic impact in Arizona, we just talked this morning with Danny Seiden from the Chamber of Commerce and the impact of TSMC's investment, Mayo Clinic with a big $2 billion investment. It seems so counterintuitive and counterproductive that we would be losing a company that grew here like Axon. It seems so strange and counterproductive.
I'm doing everything I can to not see it happen. Unfortunately, what has happened is there's been a bit of a shift in sentiment against quote-unquote development. And unfortunately, like when you're a growing company, you got to grow. You need places for people to live and work. And we've really outgrown our current headquarters. And so I've personally been deeply involved in this for 10 years, designing our new campus. We've been 2 to 3 years in working with the city to get through all the permits. And now, unfortunately, we've had some out-of-state special interest groups that came in and frankly wanted to force us into a deal that's probably too complicated to go into right now. And when we didn't sign their deal, they brought in petitioners from out of state to run a campaign against us to get our project canceled.
So, but why would so there's a couple of bills in the legislature. There are matching bills in the state legislature, SB 1352 and House Bill 2925. And if these don't pass, what happens?
Well, let me tell you how we got here.
Okay.
The same California group that is coming after us did the same thing to the Coyotes and successfully stopped their development project, and they are now gone. We don't have Arizona's Coyotes anymore. This is happening with other major development projects as well. And so what I've come to realize is like, look, the current referendum process, it sounds great in theory. Yeah, democracy for the people. But not one of these referendums against a development has actually come from the citizens. It's all been driven by special interest groups. And so what this does is this makes Arizona a high-risk place to do business because you can spend years negotiating a deal. We work closely with the city and everybody else, 7-0 and the Planning Commission, passed through the city council. And then, boom, out of nowhere, when I'm getting ready to break ground, we've got all these crazy petitioners harassing, residents out in the parking lots and shopping malls, getting arrested. I mean, they kept Scottsdale PD busy with all the trespassing. But, they were aggressive and they got a lot of signatures. And so what I've realized is like, this isn't just us. Like this is a big issue for Arizona because if you can't cut deals with the public officials here and rely on it, then you can't rely on doing business with Arizona. And if we leave, which I don't want to, it's not me leaving, it's us getting thrown out of the state. I want to be clear about that. And if that happens, it's going to be hard for anybody else to say, hey, let's go to Arizona. That doesn't look like a lot of fun to deal with.
And two things that I want people to know is, number one, I've seen the renderings and many people have. This is a beautiful facility that you're going to build. It's not like you're building an eyesore that people are upset about. But secondly, this zoning is not going to change in this land. So as we were saying before we went on the air, this is going to be developed. And if it's not going to be a beautiful campus that you're going to build, it could be just about anything, right? They're not trying to change the zoning. They're just trying to stop this.
Yeah, so it is zoned industrial. And what that means is, look, it is going to be a fulfillment center, 18-wheeler trucks, a big trucking center. Nobody I've talked to wants that. Everybody, this is like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Everybody knows that is a terrible outcome, but that's what this is potentially headed for. And in the alternative, like we're talking about building a campus, our average job in our tech office in Seattle is over $300,000 a year. That's 6 times the Arizona average. Those are the jobs I want to bring here. But we're competing with Facebook, Apple, Google, Microsoft, And again, it's unbelievable to me. We've been so successful. We were competing with big tech, but that means we got to have the same tools. And one of those is having a campus where when we're recruiting at top tier colleges, we've got a place, hey, they can come here. They don't have to, most people starting their career aren't ready to buy a house and settle down. Like, you know what? I'd rather live at a campus, walk to work, not have to commute every day. And that demographic is a really critical hiring demographic for us. That's why we need a campus.
And it seems like a no-brainer on a lot of levels because we have such a housing crisis here in the Valley that we are always talking about. The rents are very, very high and home prices are high. We're not building homes fast enough. This would address part of those concerns as well. What is the hang-up at the legislature? It seems as if once it's explained to legislators, it would be a walkover for them to say, yes, we've got to pass these bills.
Yeah, everybody we talk to gets it individually. The weird thing is it's the Scottsdale legislators that are coming out against me on this bill. And it's because they have this misimpression that they're like, well, they got a bunch of signatures. Scottsdale, maybe the voters are against you. But when I sit with them and I walk them through, I'm like, guys, let me show you the financial reports. Again, not a dollar came from a Scottsdale resident on this. 2/3 of the petition gatherers were from out of state. This is not Scottsdale's residents. And we need to get that message through. So we're going to be doing some campaigning to Scottsdale's voters to have them reach out and let their elected officials know, hey, we want to keep Axon here. If we leave, it would be a catastrophe for the city of Scottsdale.
It would. And the legacy, one of the things, I moved here 30 years ago. And one of the things I love about Arizona is, with all due respect to Texas, Arizona has its own identity. They love being from Arizona, Arizona-based businesses. We shop local. To have a company like yours that was started here go somewhere else, Florida or wherever you'd end up, makes no sense to anybody at all. And especially since we know on that piece of land, something else eventually is going to be built anyway.
It will not be a botanical garden. It's either going to be a big trucking center or a beautiful tech campus. So look, when I first started the transition to Axon, we started doing body cameras and software. And look, we're actually 40 times bigger than Netflix now, the amount of video we handle, because we handle all these police cameras. We have a huge tech footprint. 15 years ago, I couldn't get software developers to come to Arizona. They're like, look, Arizona, it's like a retirement state. It's not a tech center. Doug Ducey did a great job of turning the state's reputation around. You see the Waymo cars here. Mm-hmm. We've started to see companies coming in. I think we're at a really critical juncture. We can either step on the gas and accelerate it, but if we're going to do that, we've got to stop these shenanigans where whoever wants to hold a big development project hostage can go hire some petitioners, get signatures, and fuddle the whole thing up. Like, you can't do business like that. And again, Texas and Florida do not have this problem. That's one reason they're so successful, is business is predictable there. If we change this in Arizona, I think we'll see an influx of new companies coming here because it is a great state to live in. We just got to kind of fix some of the stuff that's not right.
A personal question before we close it out. Did you ever imagine when you started this company that you would be saying the words that you compete with the Googles and the Apples and the Facebooks did you ever imagine that this was this your dream, or did this something just outgrow what you thought it was going to be?
To be honest, I just got chills when you said that. It is unbelievable. A lot of times I look around and I say, how on earth do I have a job at this company? This place is so amazing. Our customers, we get to work with police who are just phenomenal human beings doing a hard job. So, yeah, it's exceeded my wildest expectations.
My brother and my sister-in-law are both cops. My brother's a captain in the sheriff's office in Southwest Florida. His wife is a deputy. So I've got a personal connection to the stuff you've been doing to keep cops safe for years. It's one of the reasons why I've always admired your company, that what you're doing for public safety to keep those men and women safe doing their jobs and then give them options in handling people in a dangerous situation. It is a great public service on top of being such a huge tech company.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, it's weekly. I get a hug from a cop somewhere who tells me, you know what, I didn't kill somebody because of what you guys do. And I tell you what, for all the mean-spirited stuff some people say about cops, these people are doing a really hard job. And when they say I didn't have to kill someone, I look in their eyes and I know I saved them deep personal tragedy themselves. They do not ever want to do that. And so we're on a personal mission to cut police shootings in half over the next decade by giving cops better options.
Well, I hope this works out for you. Last thing is call to action. What would you like the listeners to do, especially if they live in Scottsdale? What can they do to help this?
Oh, if you live in Scottsdale, please reach out to your elected officials, city council and state particularly, and just let them know the positive message. Hey, let's keep Axon here. We need room to grow, and we're going to bring some of the best high-paying jobs in the world here to Scottsdale. So let them know the voters support us. This is the kind of development Arizona wants.
I appreciate you coming down to the studio today, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks for having me here.
All right, man. Thanks. That's Rick Smith spending a few minutes with us.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Catch up on Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast, and click the button in the middle to subscribe.